what the big deal about Cracker Jack is. Did you ever go and buy a pack of Cracker Jack thinking you're going to get a prize and find no prize in the box?
You got to be kidding me. You have got to be kidding me.
Freehand is beating his net at the plate. Crawford is over there watching. Good see, sir. You're in the wrong seat, buddy. Come on. Oh, I must be in the front row.
Should we talk about your Chicago White Sox?
Yeah, I mean, you want to take this on the road to Hammond, Indiana, because
I do not.
When one Chicago team starts to make a deal with Hammond, Indiana, that means the other team that was looking for a new stadium must be going to Hammond, Indiana also.
Oh, you are overstating this case. You're obviously annoyed by this idea. There's some logic here, but
there's no logic. But give me your logic. Give me the logic that the windbags of Molly and Howell stated the other morning.
Yeah, on 104.3 the score. No longer, well, I guess it still is 670 the score, but they've moved to FM. They've made a big deal about that they're finally on fucking FM radio, which has existed for, 70 years. Congratulations to them. But yeah, David Haw from Mully and Haw, the morning show, brought up the idea that he's actually spoken to people in the know, he said.
Sure.
That there's a potential with this Bears dalliance with the state of Indiana. If that somehow falls through with their stadium deal, that maybe the White Sox could step into that void. And I think there is some sense to this. We got to back up a little bit. Your White Sox lease on the Rate Field is coming to an end, I think, in 3 years? 2029?
2029.
And there was a big hubbub over that 2 years ago when you released all sorts of renderings and beautiful drawings of the 78 in the South Loop, where a stadium could lie. And you and I agree that would be a tremendous move for the White Sox, just a little bit closer to the South Loop, easy area to get to, not too far from the current stadium. It just seemed to make a lot of sense. And I mean, we haven't heard anything since. The soccer team, Chicago Fire, is building in that space, building their own stadium. There might be still room for a baseball stadium in there too. I don't fully understand how that would work, but who knows? But we really have you heard any news about where you're going to be since that? I mean, that was 2 years ago.
Just that Ishbia promised the Pope that we would have a new stadium in Chicago. So
that's right,
and
he did.
He's the purse strings here, so I'll take him at his word. But well, please continue the logic of the Indiana.
He is a minority owner, and he has no vote in any of this. Jerry still is the chairman and holds all the. But
I'm sure if he was going to provide funds to build a stadium in Chicago, Jerry would gladly take those funds and build a stadium in Chicago. Because moving a Chicago team to Indiana makes them no longer a Chicago team and makes them an Indiana team.
Well, he would definitely take Ishbia's money, but would he take Indiana's money if Illinois is not offering that same money? This is where I think it does make sense. Basically, the Bears are kind of a totally different situation with it. They own their own property out in Arlington Heights and have the money to build their own stadium out there. They just want a better deal from the Illinois government on tax certainty, lower property taxes, and infrastructure. Indiana last week came in out of the blue and voted in a bill to form the Northwest Indiana Stadium Authority. And that terminology should sound familiar to you, as something similar was created 40 years ago for the White Sox to build Comiskey Park 2.0, the Illinois Stadium Authority, which basically built a fucking stadium on taxpayer money and let the White Sox lease that out for 30 years, 40 years now. Well, that's essentially what Indiana just created, but specifically for the Bears. And I think it's obvious, and everyone thinks it's obvious, that this is just a leverage ploy by the Bears because they already own the property out in Arlington Heights and can own all the profits from Super Bowls and concerts and everything else they want to put out there if they own the stadium. I don't think they want Indiana to own it. that's a totally different situation for the White Sox. You've rented your stadium all this time, and Indiana's basically could offer you the exact same deal with a brand new stadium 16 miles away from your current location. I mean, you act like it's like moving to the North Pole, but it's just right down the road. Wolf Lake is 16 miles from home plate at the Rate Field right now.
And an extra 45 minutes in backed up traffic.
That's the problem. Yes, that's definitely a problem.
So fuck off. That is a bad move.
I think the traffic is definitely the worst part of it. I think they talk about like raising the tolls on the toll road there that would get you the stadium to help pay for this too. So that part is definitely a problem. But Indiana is also offering, infrastructure improvements. So maybe there'd be multiple toll roads to make the traffic easier. Who knows? But that is definitely a problem with this, but it's not a reason that it wouldn't happen, I guess, or doesn't make it makes it, it's a drawback, but it doesn't make it a dumb idea necessarily, the way you characterized it.
Well, this is all a dumb idea, because if the Bears stay in Arlington Heights, it means the mega property tax bill passed, which then means that anyone building a project over $500 million will have the tax freeze that both Reinsdorf and the Bears were looking for when they were trying to build their original projects. So there's no reason to even move to Indiana, because all the tax breaks that both owners wanted would be instituted. And it doesn't just apply to the Bears. It applies to any project over $500 million. That's why this discussion is stupid.
Well, that's assuming Jerry wants to spend $500 million of his own money. I mean, that he's having Indiana would be fitting that bill for him.
Jerry is going to be dead before
he just turned 90 years old last week.
The contract is up and senile to be making decisions, and that'll be shifted. And I am confident that Ishbia, who's building a house bigger than Ricketts in the North Shore, is not going to make a terrible move for Chicago fans and move the team to Northwest Indiana.
So where are the White Sox going to play in 2030? Where would you like them to play?
I would like them to be playing somewhere either in the West Loop, which is a potential because there's land out there.
I haven't heard about that.
That Reinsdorf and the Wirtzes all bought for a restoration project, which is why the L stop was just remodeled and opened over there.
Oh, what's the stop? Off the Green Line?
Yeah. It's all brand new. It's super fucking fancy. It looks like...
I think you need to do some... Put on your hardball, deep throat, investigative journalism hat and tell us more about this.
Looks like Blade Runner over there. But but all kidding aside, that's an opportunity. I, like you, am not aware of like how much land is really over at the original area where they're building the soccer stadium.
Yeah, so,
78. I would assume if they were going to put in all those shops, you could probably actually support two stadiums over there and have less retail. But then that puts more onus back on both of it doesn't matter for the soccer team. The Fire's paying for the whole thing, but it would put more onus back on the Sox because there'd be less retail. So obviously that would be another issue. But there's plenty of open space throughout. The other question is if the Bears take, let's say this Illinois law doesn't pass. I mean, do the Bears end up selling the land to the White Sox and the White Sox go to Arlington Heights,
is that a better idea than Hammond, Indiana? I mean, that's 40 miles away.
I don't know, but I just feel whatever happens, it's either going to be something going on with Soldier Field and the White Sox. Maybe there's room at the 78, but this West Loop thing has always been a thing, especially since Reinsdorf's one of the owners who bought up all the land with the Wirtzes. So we'll see.
Yeah, we will definitely see. I just thought it was interesting. I know you hate it. I could see Jerry taking a handout, being very happy to get Indiana's money. Who's has no Major League Baseball team. It actually make more sense for them to have a baseball team than to have another football team in the state of Indiana. I could see the handout, and I could see Jerry happily taking that. I think your theory on that he will be either not on this planet or ousted at some moment sooner than, I think he has to be out by the time he turns 99 is the way that was put in the bylaws. It'll be interesting. I think you're right. If Ishbia is willing to fork out his own money and forego whatever Indiana's willing to hand out, I think that works in your favor, but I guess we'll see. The other part of this is we're 3 years out. Shouldn't you be building a stadium right now? Like it takes quite a while to be building a stadium. I think, you're just going to renew your lease at the current site. It's going to be great.
I have no problem with that. In fact, I'm more than happy for that to happen.
I don't have a problem with it. I don't know who does, other than Rob Manfred started spewing like, "Oh, this is a bad neighborhood, and we got to get a new stadium for Reinsdorf," and that was probably a thinly veiled attempt by Reinsdorf to gain political power to get a new stadium built. But what's wrong with the current site? It's easy to get to. There were gunshots that may or may not have come from within, or may have come from without the building. Who knows? But
magic bullets.
Yeah, that's the only issue I could come up with. I think your park is beautiful. It's doesn't really make any sense to move. But if they're going to get a free stadium out of another state, that might be the future.
Yeah, maybe they should just initially invest money into those, those more modernized security detectors like they use at Wrigley that detects gunpowder, not just a metal detector that can be easily fooled by a gunt.
Plus, you don't have to empty your pockets, and the line moves fast. It's just beautiful.
It's a beautiful thing. I think that's where we start. And worry about a new stadium later. Then you can keep just the bullets outside the park like they do at Wrigley. So it'd be all good.
Wow.
Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
One guy poured beer all over my head. The guy said, "How can you take that?" I said, "Look, that man didn't do nothing. He poured some beer on my head. He's just showing he's a White Sox fan. There ain't nothing wrong with that."
Sparky, a million thanks for, as always, the most interesting interview. And now today, let's just have a lot of thrilling baseball and not so many fisticuffs.